Good afternoon. My name is Jim Conlan, and welcome to the latest edition of the RCB Radio Sports Show, live at 92.5 and 94.8 FM and online at www.rcb.ie. It's an exciting time in the world of professional sports entertainment. Wrestling as known to many fans across the globe, and one of the big companies that is rivaling the dominance of WWE and before that WWF is All Elite Wrestling, and they've definitely come to the foreground in the last 5 years or so. And one of the new stars of All Elite Wrestling, and we're delighted to be joined by the one and only Adam Cole there this evening, one of the newest recruits to the roster of All Elite Wrestling. And Adam, if I can start off by asking you, a person very much in demand, I suppose you had many offers. What tempted you in terms of going All Elite?
So there were multiple factors in why I decided to go with All Elite Wrestling. For me, once again, I had a great experience with WWE, specifically in NXT. But I got the chance to go around and be backstage and hang around the crew at AEW, meeting Tony Khan. Again, I've known the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega for a long time. Obviously, Britt Baker, my girlfriend, was there, and just meeting the crew and talking to everyone and seeing how excited and passionate everybody was, seeing how engaged the fans were. It was very, very appealing to me in that sense. But again, funny enough, I remember I made the decision. It was one night I was laying in bed. It was like 1 a.m. Britt was fast asleep. I was by myself in the dark, and I was just thinking about and imagining what it would be like to debut for AEW. And I got all giddy. I felt like a kid. I was so excited at the idea of being involved in that promotion and getting the chance to work with a bunch of young talent that I haven't got the chance to work with before, a bunch of veterans who, maybe I have stepped into the ring with before, but would be looking forward to doing it again. And for me in that moment, just based on my own personal excitement, it was like my heart, my mind, and my soul were telling me that AEW was the right choice for me. So that was actually how I made my decision.
And I suppose, Adam, looking at AEW, it reminds me of TNA Impact when it was in its pomp with AJ Styles and Bobby Roode and Samoa Joe, and in terms of Christopher Daniels, Kazarian, when it was really rivaling WWE over the last sort of decade. And obviously when TNA sort of fell off, there was sort of a lull there for an opportunity for someone to step in. And Ring of Honor, since Cody Rhodes got involved with Tony Khan, it's really sort of filled that vibe. And there seemed to be where TNA were back maybe 8-9 years ago in terms of that. They've come out as a real alternative for WWE, even apart to them at this moment in time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Again, you could tell based on the passion and the excitement from the fan base, that people are really excited about what AEW is bringing to the table. I've said this before, and you can really feel this vibe no matter where we are. It very much feels like everyone who buys a ticket to an AEW show is showing up with the intention of saying, this show is going to be awesome. I can't wait to watch these young guys or these guys we've been following for years in this environment. And that does bring a different energy, a different magic to the shows. So it absolutely feels like it's something that's very, very special. I feel like we've just hit the tip of the iceberg as far as what AEW is capable of. So I'm really excited to see where everything goes, 1 year, 2 years, even 5 years from now.
And I suppose, Adam, before you came to the WWE and WWE Next in particular, you're a well-known wrestler. You've been involved in multiple companies. And I suppose when you get involved in something like that in terms of WWE and Next, and you become involved in a prominent faction like the Undisputed Era that sort of takes off in the main sort of roster as well, little do you know when you leave a company, you feel to yourself, well, that was a great chapter in my life. It'd be great if somehow that could be reinvented in another company. And so it really has come to pass, and such in a short period of time as well in terms of All Elite. What are the odds in terms of, I suppose, Kyle O'Reilly coming on board and obviously renewing what was a prominent sort of stable, and not so in the distant past either,
Right. Yeah. It's crazy to think about the idea of me and Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly being back together again after the run that we had in NXT and now once again in AEW. But in the same sense, it doesn't feel strange because since 2009, I have worked in the same company as Kyle O'Reilly. You know, that period from September until December, that was the first time, again, since 2009 that I hadn't worked in the same company as him. So I've been attached at the hip to Kyle, whether it be as opponents or whether it be as a team or in a group for a very long time. I started wrestling in 2008 and so pretty much my entire career. So as crazy as it feels, it also feels right, you know, based on the time I've had in my wrestling career.
I suppose, Adam, I look at the AEW cast and obviously legends come to mind when I think of Chris Jericho, obviously a future Hall of Famer in multiple companies as well. Obviously one of the first undisputed champions in wrestling sort of history, winning the belt in one night, defeating The Rock and Stone Cold. And then you have probably one of the most dominant wrestlers in the 2000s to maybe 2010 era, and CM Punk. We all thought maybe waiting to see would he come back, and obviously being involved in AEW. And then obviously Bryan Danielson, such a prominent figure, entertained so many sort of WrestleManias. To have that sort of main sort of core fronting company, it's probably exciting for a wrestler to come on board, because you're probably thinking, well, if I can strike a rivalry or with one of these guys, the possibility of the matches that we can have and the sort of spectacle. So there's an awful lot of great storylines to be had, especially with such prominent cast members like Punk and Jericho and Daniel to the fore of the company as well, and heavily involved even to this day.
Absolutely. I mean, again, because one of the appeals when I was thinking about going to AEW, like we had touched on briefly, aside from the young talent, guys like Jungle Boy, MJF, Darby, Sammy, you know, again,
I forgot Stinger. I mentioned Stinger as well.
Right.
You can forget Stinger.
Sting as well. Yeah. But, you know, aside from that young talent, I wrestled Bryan Danielson one time on SmackDown and I loved it. So getting the chance to wrestle him again in AEW would be amazing. My God, a guy like Sting would be incredible for my wrestling bucket list. Just an absolute legend. Chris Jericho had a ton of influence on me. So the fact that that is still a possibility and very much could be a reality is exciting. And I've made it very apparent before, CM Punk influenced me a ton. You know, he's one of my favorite wrestlers as a fan of all time, whether it be what he did in the ring or his promos or what have you. And there for a long time, I thought, I'm never going to get the chance to step into the ring with Punk. And now that feels like a strong possibility. So, you know, I've said before too, the idea, I think what makes AEW so exciting is there's 5 years of material for like everybody. I mean, you will never run out of opponents or storylines or things to do for a very, very long time with how stacked our roster is. So I'm really excited at the opportunity.
And I suppose when you're in the WWE and you're in WWE next, obviously you're busy as schedule, but you're probably in your downtime, you're probably looking at the rivalry, you probably have friends in sort of different companies, you're probably looking at AEW. And you see matches like the Stadium Stampede match for something totally out of the norm and sort of stuff like that. Does that sort of excite you? And I know the roster is very exciting in All Elite Wrestling, but the type of matches that they're putting on and how bold and how sort of daring that they are in terms of trying to draw up the boundary books and reinvent the sort of wheel again, almost feels like an old type ECW type matches that they're coming up with.
Right. Yeah. The open-mindedness of the approach to, like you said, different matches, different storylines, different ways to approach things, as opposed to just the bell-to-bell wrestling, has me very excited too, because you can tell how much influence the talent has on creative and the different ideas and the different aspects and ways to approach, again, a storyline or an angle or what have you, or like what, you know, whether you turn babyface or turn heel, the stuff is so different. The process is so different. So yes, things like Stadium Stampede had me very, very excited, in addition to many other things.
And I suppose, Adam, in terms of your sort of possibilities, obviously being involved in a stable, again, you can pursue the singles route, you can pursue the tag sort of team route. Obviously, you mentioned the friendship with the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
There's possibility, I'm not going to ask for in terms of storylines, but there's the possibility of developing something there, good or bad, or in terms of potential sort of rivalries there. And obviously there's just obviously the single sort of route as well. So in terms of a wrestler, is it that sort of variety in terms of options, in terms of being involved in a stable? Is that sort of exciting as well, that you can sort of go the sort of faction route with the tag teams, or you can sort of pursue the single route, that you're not sort of restricted or bound into one certain category or another?
Sure. Well, actually, that's one of my favorite things about the run that I've had here in AEW is I love the idea of, hey, when it's time to get serious and it's a blood feud, and I mean business, and there's intense promos or intense angles or intense matches, we can do that. Then we can have a little bit of fun, as well, depending on what the angle is and who the opponent is against. Again, it could be a tag team match, it could be a trios match, it could be an 8-man tag, or it could be a really, really big singles match as well. I feel like I've had the chance to do an experiment with a lot of different, whether it be partners or opponents, and angles and storylines and emotions. I feel like there's so much stuff to do, and me, as far as Adam Cole the character, I love the idea of being involved emotionally in so many different things. If it's meant to make you laugh, I hope we make you laugh. If it's meant to make you get goosebumps and jump for joy and be excited or be really, really ticked off, I hope we succeed with that too. So, and part of that is the faction versus being a singles wrestler as well. So that part has been really fun.
I suppose, Adam, being involved in the WWE obviously give you a global appeal and a global sort of audience. But in terms of All Elite Wrestling now, they have contracts with Showtime here in the UK. They have contracts as well with sort of FITE TV network as well, which is sort of shown globally. They have contracts with Channel 4 as well in the UK and sort of Ireland as well. So they have established a sort of a network sort of TV base already in sort of Europe, not only in sort of the States as well. So that must be appealing to show that you're being shown to a world live audience, not only throughout maybe Canada and the United States, but globally, far reaching as well, in terms of here in Ireland and the UK as well. Something that you had similarly had when you were in the WWE as well. That must excite you as well, in terms that your fans all over the world can see you regularly on All Elite Wrestling.
Oh, for sure. Especially considering, I haven't been to Europe for quite some time, but going over and wrestling for the UK fans has been one of my favorite things in the world to do. So to know that we have so many fans over there, and AEW has done better about making sure that our product gets shown in as many different places of the world as possible is great. I hope that very soon AEW gets the chance to go over, and wrestle in the UK or Japan or Australia or what have you. The idea of getting to travel the world and meeting a bunch of different fans from all over the globe is always exciting to me. I love world travel and getting that opportunity. So yeah, very exciting.
And I suppose, as a new talent, for everyone this Christmas time, it's sort of being sort of family orientated, and people haven't really had those sort of Christmas presents or excitement. But it must be exciting for you. It must feel like Christmas is coming early, in terms of Dynamite sort of New Year smash just around the corner, in terms of other people making their New Year's resolutions. Possibly for you, New Year is starting off in a high, is very much for Adam Cole, with such an event being around the corner. It must be exciting as well, in terms of Christmas, to have that sort of festive sort of vibe, to be involved in such a highly thought of project.
Oh, for sure. I mean, and then I look at, what I'm involved in, and then I look at, what so many people on the roster are involved in. This is a very exciting time. Between congratulations to Hangman Page, who just became the, AEW world champion. Bryan Danielson has made quite an impression. CM Punk has done the same thing. I think myself and the Super Click have made quite an impact. And then now, obviously, we have myself, Kyle O'Reilly, and Bobby Fish back together again. So there's a lot of really exciting stuff across the board going into the new year for 2022. I feel like it was a nice holiday treat for the AEW fans, and I can promise you 2022 is going to be even better than 2021.
And I suppose you mentioned COVID there, and obviously it's a bit of a bummer in terms of fans and live audience, and obviously maybe in terms of shows being held behind screens, but maybe shows in a small crowd for the international fan that would travel maybe to big pay-per-view events. Obviously, that's probably out the window. So in terms of wrestlers, how intrigued, how exciting once the dilemma that we're facing is over to get maybe to Dublin, Ireland, in the Point Theatre, or in front of 50 or 60,000 sort of Irish sort of fans in terms of that feel. Are you excited as wrestlers to go travelling against, not outside the United States? Is it, once this thing is over, is something that you're very looking forward to getting back there and experiencing the vibe that maybe international fans do bring, because they probably bring something different than the traditional American fan, which obviously is the heart of wrestling, but the international fans probably offer a sort of different aspect, which probably excites wrestlers as well, I imagine.
Oh my God, for sure. Yeah. I can't wait till we get back to a point where, just across the board, not just for pro wrestling, but for, human beings in general. I'm excited for everything to kind of get back to normal, where we're able to travel again and make sure that everyone is safe and healthy and stuff like that. But when you look at it strictly from a pro wrestling standpoint, again, the AEW fans in the States are the absolute best. They're amazing. But when you get the chance to travel overseas to different parts of the world, again, lots of times these fans, they don't get to see you as often as the fans in the States do. So there's another level of excitement and enthusiasm that these fans feel, because they're going to make the most out of this one chance they get to see you maybe once a year, maybe even less than that. And we love traveling and getting to wrestle in all different markets all across the world as well. So I'm very excited at the idea of getting the chance to do that. Yeah.
And Adam, what's it like in terms of having a boss that's particularly the same age as you, in terms of Cody Rhodes? I suppose there's probably a friendship there and a mutual sort of respect as a sort of a fellow wrestler. But tell me about Cody Rhodes, the businessman.
Yeah, no, he's great. I've always had a good relationship with Cody. In whether it be us talking backstage, or we've worked together a few times, not as much as I would have liked to, but that's been really, really cool. I think that's part of what makes AEW special. You have Kenny Omega, who's very involved, the Young Bucks, who are very involved, Cody, same thing. And that's kind of what makes the spark of what AEW is, and why it feels so different, because these are current active wrestlers who have a very good understanding, I think, of what the AEW fan wants. And in turn, they have a great relationship with a lot of the talent as well. So it's been great to work with Cody again, for sure.
And I know, Adam, you've a vested sort of interest in terms of the women's sort of division in All Elite Wrestling, and I suppose it's a faction that's rising in terms of popularity as well. It's important to mention that as well. But obviously, the women's wrestling and All Elite Wrestling last 6 or 7 months is beginning to take off to a sort of a higher level as well. So that must be a prominent thing of real excitement, I suppose, all across the board, that when a company is going well, not only the male talent is going well, but the female talent as well, that are really driving the company as well.
Yeah, for sure. Specifically, again, I have a very close attachment to Britt Baker, my girlfriend. So I've been very proud of what she's been able to accomplish as AEW women's champion, which has been cool. But the roster across the board has continued to grow and get better, whether that be the promo segments, the matches. They've done an excellent job at just representing AEW to the best of their ability. And again, specifically, it's been great to watch Britt do her thing.
Adam, we're nearly running to the end of my time with you, so I might have turned it over to you for the last 30 seconds, and you might tell all our Irish fans why they should tune in on the FITE TV network and in Channel E4 on New Year's Eve for Dynamite's New Year Smash, and what's in store for them. Over to you, Adam Cole.
So AEW has been a fairly young company. It's been around for a little over 2 years, and the impact that AEW has made in such a short time has not only been amazing to watch, but it's been miraculous. I can promise you when I tell you 2022 is going to be the absolute best year that AEW has ever had. Our roster is more stacked than it's ever been. and the fans are more excited for AEW to develop and turn into such a memorable organization with an incredible roster and incredible fans all over the world. So we're going to kick off 2022 with a bang, and it's definitely a show you're not going to want to miss.
On that note, Adam Cole, thanks for joining us this evening to tell us your reasonings of joining All Elite Wrestling for all our wrestling fans here in Ireland. No doubt tuning in to see your appearance on Dynamite New Year Smash. It's a busy time for you, and obviously an exciting time with your buddies back in fold, reuniting the Undisputed Era. A bit of the sort of evolution from the WWE, dare I say, in terms of hopefully the dominance of it going forward. But Adam Cole, an absolute pleasure to talk to you. We wish you a Merry Christmas to you and all your loved ones, and Happy New Year. Adam Cole, take care.
Thank you, man. Same to you.